Right, so, we didn't even get to the formation of the frickin' club, for fuck's sake. We already got to that point. Doing this backwards. His awareness of his sins and the Frida family are indeed dead, so the formation of the club before, you know, that happened. It's like we got the aftermath before the actual events. School is a children's world. The values of grown-ups don't apply. Children decide their own values and create their own world. So the rules of the grown-up world of the village don't mean anything here. Even when the villagers badmouth the Hojo family and try to isolate them, that has no meaning at our school. In the children's world, children decide the rules. Rules they think are irrational don't exist here. That's why, as a representative for the children here, I vow that I will never let any irrational rules come into our world. Save that. I'm assuming this is Mion's perspective. Say that. Irrational rules. What about your club games, man? Could those be considered irrational in some way? Or is it just harsh? It's just like the punishments. I don't know, that probably wouldn't count, would it? In the school, no harassment is allowed towards the Hojo siblings. In the very beginning, some boys teased Satoko, but they were punished severely and it hadn't happened since. That's the least I can do to resist the madness of the village. So I hope Satoshi and Satoko both feel that the school is a safe place for them. Satoshi must notice my concern because he often smiles when he's here. However, I never see Satoko smile. Satoko's classmates used to try to cheer her up, but soon after they decided it was best to just leave her alone. I used to try to talk to her, but when I realized something, I stopped doing that. I'm a member of the Sonozaki family. To Satoko, I'm one of her enemies, so I'm sure she feels uncomfortable to have me around her. All I can do is to watch over her. That's why Satoko is alone in the classroom. That said, Rika-chan is always hanging around with her. Even though Satoko told her she was annoying, Satoshi too is always beside her. It's weird, because this is before, you know, Satoko and Rika became best friends, by the looks of it. So Satoko's just like, you're annoying, leave me alone. These two are the only ones who remain by her side. It isn't limited to Satoko, of course. The malicious isolation is still continuing towards the Hojo family. Because their hysterical aunt is so hostile towards her neighbors, there's nobody who sympathizes with her. It's wise to know there are fights worth picking and also fights better set aside. If the aunt had even a little tolerance or self-control, this isolation wouldn't have continued. Of course, the villagers were the ones who forced them into that role, even though they weren't related to the issue. But if she had stayed quiet, then it wouldn't have gone so far. The aunt's hostility is one thing, but she's dragging everyone in the family into it as well. The uncle and the aunt haven't been getting along, and he hardly comes home. Both Satoshi and Satoko are forced to live in shame. The aunt vets her stress by harassing Satoko. This was the same too. The aunt is her guardian after all, but Satoko doesn't even try to hide her disgust, so things aren't going smoothly between them. If she had behaved like Satoshi, then she wouldn't have been made into a target. So does that mean the sad life Satoko is living right now is something she caused herself? No, it doesn't. But no matter how much I sympathize and how much I want to help her, nobody knows what to do. An apology won't change the situation. The flow can't be reversed. The fact that the Hojo family is ostracized by the entire family can't be changed. What was that? That's the horribleness lurking underneath our lives. The neighbors, the village, and the community. Once they become your enemies, the world can become so cruel. Japanese people have known that since ancient times. This is why we cultivated empathy and an obligation to show courtesy to one's neighbors. No matter who I blame, Satoko won't smile. So the only thing I can do is to watch over her and make sure that she's safe when she's at school. Thank you, Mion. Sorry, what? Remember? Yeah, that's like his, I don't know if you'd call it a catchphrase, but that's like, one of his more recognizable dialogue, I guess, things. I just want to thank you for being so concerned about Satoko. So she kind of appears absent-minded, but sometimes he says things as if he can read your thoughts. I tried to deny it since it's out of character for me, but he smiled as if he could tell exactly what I was thinking. Loco's just forgotten how to smile. When she's at school, she can let go of a little tension for a while. I'm sure she treasures that time. That's basically the only thing this old man can do for her. That's not true. I really appreciate it. Stop that, you don't need to say that. Besides, my family's the one who's causing all this grief. I don't think that way. I really don't. I'm not good at reading people's subtle cues, but I know for sure what he's just said is a lie. So she knows that he and his family are being isolated because of the Sonozakis. And he's, of course, aware that I am a member of the Sonozaki family too. So she is mature, and that's the only reason he doesn't take it out on me. If he had the same temper as his aunt, he would hate me bitterly. Knowing that, the least I can do is to not get close to them. Just like... Well, that didn't last, did it? But I'm a meddlesome person, and when I see Satoko looking depressed or Satoshi forcing himself to smile, I have to do something. That might be even more troublesome to Satoshi and Satoko, though. Maybe I just don't understand Satoko's feelings. Why? Who's talking? My family is causing Satoko grief, so for me, a member of that family to hang around her, is that the right thing to do? Sure, that's you being you. What do you mean by that? Are you saying I'm insensitive? I don't mean that. The atmosphere is robbing Satoko of her smile. Only someone who can completely ignore it can bring her smile back. This old man can't tell if you're trying to compliment him or not. You're mean. Ha 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 ha. If it does do that, just picture a Tommy Wiseau kind of laugh. I'm not ridiculing you, really. I just want you to help. Eh? I can't make Satoko smile again by myself. I need someone like you to help me. But I'm Mion Sonsaki, you know. If I do something insensitive, I might end up hurting Satoko even more. Satoko's already lonely. Are you going to leave her alone too? This is the first time Satoshi has asked me for something so aggressively. Satoko is a very important person to him. He's saying he needs my help to make her smile again. But still, no. Maybe he's right. What's going on between the Sonozaki family and the Hojo family is an issue among the grown-ups. We children don't need to care about that. The irrational rules of grown-ups don't mean anything in our world. So I have to object to the irrationality of the grown-up world using methods of my own. Are you sure Satoko won't feel bothered by me? She may at first, but I'll be with you. I'll be with you, Mion, so she'll open up right away. You think so? Should we do something after school today? If we go home first, our aunt might say something and we might not be able to leave. Okay, then it's simple. Don't go home first. But if we get home too late, she'll ask us what we were doing. Let's see. I know. Why don't you join a club? A club? Yeah. Tell her you're going to an after-school club. Tell her that you're doing something after school before going home. There are plenty of people who go out after school before they go home. That'll be no problem. His face. But if we mess up our clothes, our aunt will say, okay, then we'll do something indoors. Then the clothes will stay clean. Indoors? Do you mean in the classroom? But wouldn't GA Sensor say something? It's possible to play passionately while not going wild indoors. Contrary to my appearance, I love playing games. I've collected some treasures from overseas too. Some of the manuals are written in English and are a little complicated, while with some of them I need someone to play with, so a lot of them are just sitting in the storage room. So that's where she got that from. It's just like, what did it say? While not going wild. They go freaking wild in those games. I mean, they don't trash the place or anything, but it gets pretty damn wild. You think Satoko can play those too? Sure. If you don't know the rules, then you just make them up. As long as everyone's following the same rules, it's totally okay. It's like, screw the official rules, we're gonna make our own. I said it so confidently, but would bringing games from home and asking Satoko to play with us actually make her smile again? What have I got to lose? Maybe I'll bring one of the board games tomorrow. Oh, also, Mion, I have something else I want to ask you. Well, this old man is all ears. I'm looking for a part-time job. I thought if I could get a nice birthday present, that might make her feel better. And that becomes his main driving force, and he meets Shion around about the time while he's, doing his part-time job. Interesting. We're seeing the different little bits and pieces in between events. Right. Well, despite this being after the 4th year's curse, this requires it, which we have not seen yet. Yeah, we're not gonna see any of these until later on. Raw sea urchin and vitamin A. Yeah, that's gonna require, getting through all of the 4th year events. And probably, require Geichi movement as well. I'm surprised we haven't got that one yet. He hasn't got his part-time job yet, or he hasn't got the footsteps yet. Yeah, this one's probably going to be the next one, but let's have a look if there are any others. Nope. Yeah, we've not got that far yet. Oh, we haven't got quite there yet, so, where is it? Yeah, this is the one. My harsh and brutal days are still continuing without end. Situation between my aunt and Satoko remains the same. My aunt yells at Satoko for no reason every night. Although Satoko cries, she still talks back to me. So my aunt's yelling goes on forever. Wait, did I read that right? Satoko cries, she still talks back to me. Back to her. I think I said me instead of her. So my aunt's yelling goes on forever, and Satoko's crying goes on too. And the footsteps, don't get him started on that. When Satoko sees me, she grabs onto me. She hides behind my back and tries to ignore my aunt's yelling. She always comes to seek my help. Satoko doesn't open up to anyone but me. So if I don't protect her, she'll be devastated. That security is something our parents didn't grant to Satoko. I have to be the one to provide it. But every day, day after day, every time Satoko cries, every day, day after day, Satoko grabbed on to me while crying yesterday. I pat her head, but along with pity, a different emotion came to me. I wanted to grasp her head and smash her against the wall. What an unbelievably devilish and awful emotion. Yeah, that is a pretty, disturbed thought. No. I can't think that. No, it's not that I can't think it, I just can't acknowledge that feeling. Since that day, there has been something else inside of me. That someone is trying to eat me up from the inside and switch places with me. When Satoko begs for my help while crying, a moth randomly went up in my face. That person tries to make me spill out some awful and hateful words that are sure to damage Satoko forever. It's like, obviously, the stress is leading to, Hinamizawa syndrome eventually, getting to him. But at the same time, he is stressed out, and, it's kind of, I can understand, him, getting stressed to the point where he has, a thought like that cross his mind and be like, oh, it's so fucking awful, and, beat yourself up about it. But I imagine with Hinamizawa syndrome, it amplifies. Leave me alone! Did I read the oh, God damn it, wrong thing. Make me the damage Satoko forever. Don't grab onto me. Go away! No, 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 no. I can't. To prevent him from taking over my body, I clenched my stomach and rolled him out. I managed to do that. But that wasn't it. That person is coming after me, trying to get back inside of me. I won't let such a scary thing get back inside of me. He knows there's no room to slip into my heart as long as I keep it held shut like this. So he stopped trying, and instead is following right behind me. He's waiting for me to let my guard down. And now this right here is Hinamizawa syndrome. When I walk, he walks right behind me. He's breathing down my neck. He follows me everywhere, and when I lie down, he stares down at me. He's waiting for the right moment to jump back inside me so he can hurt Satoko. It's been so hot lately. Maybe the heat is getting to me, and that's why I think things like this. I'm the only family Satoko has, so I have to protect her from my aunt for the rest of my life. That's my eternal duty. Now, for the rest of your life, or, until you can, leave. Both of them. The rest of my life, forever. Do I really have to do that forever? Only Satoko. I'm her only family, but it's because of my aunt. That's because of the villagers, too. It's almost Watanagashi. Some irresponsible people are saying that the curse will once again fall upon Hinamizawa. They're also saying it'll fall upon me and Satoko for sure. Maybe it's just my imagination, but lately the villagers expecting it are giving me especially sharp looks. Well, that's not going to be good for the old Hinamizawa syndrome, is it? That's the one thing. That's the trick, man. If you, get stressed out, let yourself mind go into paranoia, it amplifies it. And, sooner or later, if untreated, it'll get to L5, and it'll claw out your neck. So not a pleasant thing, is it? I feel like I'll be killed on the day of Watanagashi. Of course, there's no reason why I would be killed, it's just my imagination. Ah, slap, 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 slap! Don't come inside of me! I don't know, that just sounded suggestive. Ah, slap, 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 and then don't come inside of me. Oh, Satoko is my only sister in my family, so don't tell me those awful things. Slap, 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 don't come this way, don't come this way. Is he slapping himself in the face? He's like, no, no, no. The footsteps come up right behind me, and the hand touched me on the shoulder. Rena. I was confused. It's is it Rena reacting or him? And it's oh, it's him. Are you okay? Are you? I must have been acting weird. Rena looked worried. You know what? I've probably looked at it like that in the past, but I want to have a check. Is that an actual thing she does? Wait. Did he say, is that Rena? Is that... I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. Is she actually repeating the same thing? Well, it's kind of hard to tell. Not being able to understand what it's saying. I mean, I can see that. That's Rena, katakana. It's I keep saying, I can't read katakana with shit. But I know that's gotta be Rena's name right there. I know that's I recognize that one, but Re, right there. It's it's so simple looking, but I can recognize these a lot easier. It's do, oo, mo. And that'd probably be wa, because it's at the end of a statement of sort there. Ga, te, mo, wa, ka, ru, ku, rai, ni, something, okashika, ta, rashi, renawa, blah, 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 sona, blah, wa, shite, ita, shite, blah, blah. When I read that, it's just weird. Oh. I was just wondering, because, like, she tends to, like, how did it look in English again? Like, are you okay? Are you? Wait, that's all she said. Are you okay? Are you? Let's look at that again. Is that... Wait. Oh, wait, no, that is actually... I was looking at this, no wonder why I was so confused. I was like, oh, that's a freaking long-ass way of saying, are you okay? Are you? Okay, she is saying the same thing. It's like, nah, something, can I? So yeah, that is a thing she does. But she kind of, like, repeats the word at the end of her sentence to be like, are you? And they're just like, wah! Rena. Anyways, well, wrong thing again. Get back on with the plot, shall we? Must have been acting weird. Rena looked worried. Her name is Rena Ryugu. She just moved here and transferred to my school. Nobody remembers her, but supposedly she lived here in Hinamizawa a long time ago. You know, they say that nobody remembers her. That's because everyone that's young is pretty much just like a little kid, except for, Mion, I guess, who's older. I mean, maybe Mion didn't remember her either, but all the old people, which is pretty much the majority of the village, surely would have remembered her. I remember somebody supposedly lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. In fact, she hardly remembers anything about Hinamizawa either. Oh yeah, and there's also, Satoshi as well. He's older as well. Since Mion is the only old classmate who is my age, I'm glad she's my friend. She usually carries on happily alongside Mion, but occasionally she shows more feminine consideration. Are you feeling okay? Do you want me to take you to the nurse's office? Do you? And there she goes again. It's like, do you? Thank you. I'm okay. Okay, do I look sick or something? Yep. Her immediate answer made me realize I wasn't myself. Is it about Satoko-chan? Are you worried? No, that isn't it. She knows that my problem isn't physical, but a mental one. It's just something I think to myself, but even though Rena seems like a very easygoing person, maybe she's more perspective than she appears. Since I just transferred you recently, I may not be able to help much, but I can at least listen. Sometimes talking can help. Although she just transferred, she already knows quite a bit about me and my sister, and also about the situation with the villagers. But talking about it won't solve anything. Actually, if I talk about it, I feel like I'd be admitting to my weakness, which might give that person a chance to get inside of me again. You were so surprised just now. That's why I thought something really serious was bothering you. Oh, that. Lately I feel like someone's following me all the time. Slap, 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 I thought that was you. Sorry. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Footsteps? Following you? Eh? Well, she knows that. I know those footsteps. What a cliffhanger. It's like, so how'd the conversation play out after that? It's like, we may never know, or maybe we will. In a different scene, fragment. Well, we unlocked this one. I notice over leave of absence, they're just part-time I mean, I guess he did ask me on about it, but it didn't really, get a confirmation of it, did we? But now that we got his footsteps, I guess we can get to that. I see. No, you don't need to do that. You're a promising member of the Hinamizawa fighters. We'll save your spot. So you can come back anytime, okay? Irie's perspective, I take it? I don't know about that, though. I have no idea when I can come back, so I thought I should resign at least for now. Satoshi-kun says he wants to quit the Hinamizawa fighters. Know very well of Satoshi-kun and Satoko-chan's situation. So I was expecting that he might say this. You know what bugs me? That we still haven't really seen what exactly happened with Furude's parents. Furude's parents? Rika's parents. I mean, in that, the Furude family, the Furude couple, whatever. I mean, we got it from Rika's perspective, so we didn't really see what actually happened. It's like, very much was hinted at what was going to happen. And you can probably guess from there, but we didn't really get to see it from, like, you know, that perspective, so that we could actually get confirmation. The reason why I'm curious about that is because it's like, so what was Yuri doing during that, like? But anyway, that's unrelated to this. That just made me think of that, because now we're seeing things from Yuri's perspective, like a year later during this scene. The relationship between Satoko-chan and her aunt has gotten worse to the point that it can be considered abuse. When someone from the Child Constellation Center came, of course her aunt behaved herself. Then immediately after, her harassment turned even more vicious. According to the neighbors, the aunt's scolding and Satoko-chan's crying can be heard nightly, and sometimes it goes on past midnight. Satoko-chan's weekly physical came-up results are slowly growing worse. Wait, did I say that right? Weekly checkup results are slowly growing worse, and so we're trying to keep her stable by increasing our medication. But unless her relationship with her aunt improves, she's sure to go terminal and sink into madness. Though she isn't the type to become deranged, even at the terminal stage, she's the type who holds everything in, harboring her insanity inside. Just like she pushed her parents off a cliff 2 years ago, Satoko-chan may kill her aunts. It's like she isn't the type to become deranged or anything, or she just pushed her parents off a cliff 2 years ago. That's not deranged at all. Thanks to the mountain dog, the incident was resolved as an accident and Oishi stepped aside, although he's still suspicious. Something like that happens again around Satoko-chan. He's sure to investigate her mercilessly. I can't do anything more about Satoko-chan's environment changing for worse, so I'm not surprised to hear that Satoshi-kun wants to quit the baseball team so he can be with his sister more. I'm surprised, considering, you know, all that and what Irie knows. You'd think he'd be a bit more like, you know what? What if Satoshi, you know, ends up in a similar situation? He's not really taking that into account. He's kind of like Oishi, where he was like, shit, why didn't I see the signs right there, right in my face? You know, when Rika's father was, you know, ill and then died, like, about half an hour later, like. Actually, I'm starting a part-time job. That's why I can't come to practice. A part-time job? Is there something you want to buy? Yes, it's almost Satoko's birthday. There's a teddy bear Satoko's been looking at, and I want to get it for her. That's right. Remember the birthday's on her insurance card. I think it's June 24th, right after the Watanagashi Festival. I see. You're such a good brother. I'm sure Satoko-chan will be thrilled. I hope so. I can tell Satoshi-kun is also stressed out. To him, seeing Satoko-chan being harassed is the same thing as being harassed himself. If stress can be released through moderate exercise, such as with sports, also with plenty of rest. If Satoko-chan is being yelled at nightly, then it's easy to figure out that Satoshi-kun isn't getting enough sleep either. I don't know what kind of job he's starting, but I don't think he will be able to vent his stress on it. In fact, I don't like the idea of Satoshi-kun taking a part-time job, because he's already so worn out in every way. I asked him if he wanted me to help him pay for the present, but of course he declined the offer. It's a present from him, so he wants to earn the money himself. He's taking this part-time job only to earn enough money to buy Satoko-chan's presents, so it'll be a temporary thing. If it's for a short period of time, maybe it won't be that bad. Well, I want to stop him from working because I don't want him to get even more stressed. Since he says Satoko-chan's birthday is near, I don't think I can stop him. Satoshi is determined. If I say any more, I may lose his trust, so I'll have to accept his leave of absence. Oh, Coach, can I maybe borrow a bat? I completely misunderstood his words. Later I found out he carried around that bat to protect himself, and realized that even then he was already showing some dangerous symptoms. He believed there would be a fourth mysterious death this year and that he would be the victim. He became obsessed with the idea that someone was after his life. That is a symptom of Hinamizawa syndrome's terminal stage. But although I was involved so deeply with the syndrome, I was careless. A bat? Well, what do you need a bat for? Satoshi had his own bat, so he should have asked if he could take it home, but instead he asked if he could borrow it. When I think about it now, he said it that way to lighten his guilty conscience. But how could I have known then? Well, although I can't come to practice, I think I'll have a little time to practice swinging on my own. It's great, sure, please take it with you. And make sure you do it in an open space, okay? If it won't bother your neighbors, it's good practice to hit a hanging tire. Swinging a bat can release stress, so letting him take his bat home will help. That's what I thought. But that was a huge mistake. I realized it only when things were already past the point of no return. But seeing, Satoshi's, how things turned out for Satoshi there, really puts him more in perspective the very first arc, Onikakushi, and, the, similarities. It's you just spoiled Onikakushi by saying that. It's we're in the freaking final arc. All of this is going to spoil everything. If you haven't gone through Onikakushi and you're watching this, it's why? Although I am still trying to avoid spoiling, too much, Even though we're pretty much going over, a collection of spoilers with every clip here. This goes over the whole series. Wait, right away? We can go straight to that? Well, let's actually see what else we got. Yeah, we're not gonna get that or that. I guess we have no choice. A bat. We were prepared to respond quickly this year. That was why we were able to start the investigation immediately by securing the crime scene. I assume this is Oishi's perspective. The victim is the wife of the younger brother of the Hojo family, so she's an extremely suitable target for the 4th year's curse of Oyashiro-sama. She has a horrible reputation among the locals. After the incident, everyone said she deserved to be cursed. I have a general idea of who the culprit must be. It's probably Satoshi Hojo. That innocent-looking kid. There's even a motive. The deceased abused his sister relentlessly, so this would be in revenge for that. Also, when he attended the inspection of the crime scene, he was rather frantic, yet also far too composed, as if he was totally unrelated to the incident. My intuition from many years of police work tells me that 8 or 9 times out of 10, someone who acts like that is the perp. But what about the other 2 or 1 out of 10? Then it's wow, shit, I guess it wasn't you then. I have no concrete proof, but if I question him and shake him up a bit, I have a feeling he'll confess. I mean, he's right, it was Satoshi. But when we get to know these characters and see it like this, it's Oishi, you're such a dick, he's just doing his job, man. I hate it when there's 2 characters speaking and there's no character on screen, so you can't tell who's talking. I mean, Oishi's gotta be one of these, but I don't know which one. Maybe that's Kumagai, the first one. He's what would that be called? He kind of works under Oishi, sort of. He's his sidekick. I forget what it was called for that. The victim will be so beaten up, the culprit must have some blood on him as well. If we can find that, then we'll have proof. This is a complete fool. I'm sure he's already gotten rid of it by now. If we can find any in the place he says he disposed it in after he fessed it up. Wait, what? If we can find any in the place he says he disposed it in then after he fessed it up. Then we can convince the prosecutor too. This was pretty insignificant as a standalone case. Confession from Satoshi Hojo would end it. Everyone except me must believe that. But if I look at it as a part of the series of mysterious deaths, it won't be so easy. Either the three families of the village, or the Sonozaki family alone is directly involved in this. And that, Oishi, is where you're completely wrong. They are the ones pulling the strings. They must have instigated Satoshi Hojo into committing this crime. It's like he knows who did it, in this case, Satoshi. But the motive behind it, he's got it completely backwards. If so, Satoshi Hojo is someone who knows way too much about them. I mean, it's kind of dumb. He kind of was going down, he's like, yeah, he has a motive, you know? The aunt was abusing his sister, causing all kinds of stress and all kinds of pain, mentally, physically, probably as well. And yeah, there's a motive there. It's just like he snapped, and that is actually what happened. Really, he just snapped because of Hinamizawa syndrome, and he can kind of see it that way, but at the same time he's like, no, but he was set up by the Sonozaki family somehow. That doesn't make sense, Oishi. Sonozaki family's actions must remain hidden. Once again, I must check. Someone who knows. Yeah, I read that. They could connect them to the crime, or would they let him run away freely? Satoshi Hojo is a loving girl who cares very much for his sister, and they set him up to kill his aunt as the 4th year's curse. After that, they will eliminate the one person who can connect him to the crime. Satoshi Hojo is not just a simple criminal. He was set up. After that, my suspicions were confirmed, for he abruptly vanished. He disappeared in such a puzzling way. He didn't run because he was afraid that his crime had come to light. Now the culprit came into the picture. He was already arrested for a different crime, and furthermore, he died while in prison. He confessed to information only the culprit himself would have known. Therefore, he must be the culprit. But as he's already dead, the investigation was closed. Then Satoshi Hojo appeared a few days after the festival. I can't remember if it was ever explained who this supposed criminal that confessed to it was. I mean, can kind of take a guess. It's probably Mountain Dogs got involved, possibly, because they've been getting involved in all of the cases so far, with the previous year's case being a lot more close than the other ones, because they pretty much were the ones behind it. It's obvious someone doesn't want Satoshi Hojo to be connected to this incident. My boss put pressure on me to close the investigation and to file Satoshi Hojo's disappearance as a separate incident. Again, I do this every time. But he's already in Satoshi Hojo after the festival. He even handed the case over to a different section. The way this case is closing so rapidly greatly resembles the same trick used 2 years ago with the Hojo couple's accident. There's no doubt it's the work of someone who can put pressure on the police. As it happens, the Sonozaki family is the only one who can actually exact influence on the police department here in the Hinamizawa area. Well, they can, but, Mion, Takano's connections can also do a similar thing. They may think their trails are covered, but this point towards them more clearly than anything. According to my informant, Torio Sonozaki mentioned the 4th year's curse at the family meeting and hinted that she was the one behind it all. Hinting isn't strong enough evidence, but there is no mistaking that Torio Sonozaki is the one pulling the strings. If only if Oreo didn't constantly do that to kind of make the Sonozaki family seem stronger and more intimidating, then, Oishi could potentially, maybe, start to look at other leads instead. But no. I know they're the ones who did in the old man, but I just can't grab them. It was the bloody workers, man. It had nothing to do with any of them. The principal offender is still on the loose, but I'm sure he's being sheltered somewhere by the Sonozaki family. I have to locate him and find that missing right arm. Wait, the principal offender is still on the loose, but I'm sure... Does that imply... No, it can't. It can't imply that it was like, because he's been referring to as just one killer. If the other workers, you know, were brought to justice for the murder, then he would know that it wasn't like that. But even if that was the case, he knew that much, he'd probably still suspect the Sonozaki family being involved somehow. Maybe. I have to locate him and find that missing right arm. I'll return the arm to his grave and make the principal offender and the masterminds both bow down before it. However, just like how Satoshi Hojo disappeared, it's possible the principal offender has already been eliminated. I bet he's already been killed and buried somewhere nobody can find. If that's the case, then that's fine. I'll make the old bag who ordered someone to kill the old man slam her forehead on the ground before his grave. This I swear. So he's pretty much seeing Oreo just like, yeah, slam her freaking head on his gravestone. You killed him, you bastards, you ordered the killing. I don't know, he's kind of like right in that the principal offender is already dead, but is not the Sonozaki family that was involved in that. After the 4 years curse, people are already saying something will happen again next year. Even with all my preparations, I couldn't prevent the incident from happening this time. It's too late if something happens. I must keep my eyes on the core of the village before something takes place. There's a reason why I have to get to the bottom of this by next year. Because I'm retiring. My mother has been wanting to go back to her hometown in Hokkaido. For a long time, she's been asking me to move there when I retire. I feel that's the least I can do for her, so I agreed to move to Hokkaido when I retire. So next year is my last chance to avenge the old man's death. It happened 4 years in a row, so more than likely there will be a 5th curse too. As a result of a series of mysterious deaths, the village has been tightly knit together since the dam protests. They were told that betrayers will be punished in the name of the curse. To the masterminds, that's enough reason to continue with this series of mysterious deaths. According to rumors, this year's victim, the aunt, was cursed because she didn't participate in the Watanagashi festival. So there are villagers who believe that if they don't participate in next year's Watanagashi, they'll be cursed. It'll be a huge festival next year for sure. Something will happen. A series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as the Curse of Oishiro-sama. I will avenge the old man. I definitely will. That's pretty much what every one of these Oishi clips comes down to at the end. I will avenge his death by barking up the wrong tree. I mean, he has no idea just how, like, different to what he thinks of what happened is, like, and compared to what actually happened. Yep. 4th sacrifice.